One of the things I've found concerning in recent years is the way we as society are treating our neighbors. I think about this often. How can I be a good neighbor to those around me? And how can we be good neighbors to others in the world? On my pastoral internship a couple years ago, I ended up very accidentally meeting a community of Russian-speaking immigrants and refugees in the Oshkosh community who were from a wide variety of countries. They welcomed me in so warmly, and as I learned more about their stories, my eyes were open to how much of a struggle it is just to enter this country, nonetheless come here to be freed from a life of fear and violence. I really questioned how we could treat immigrants and refugees with such disregard when Scripture repeatedly tells us to welcome and care for our neighbors. And Jesus in Matthew 25 said, "I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me." But then he goes on to say, "Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, you did it to me." So as we talked about this Pie the Pastor penny war, I knew I wanted to support World Relief Fox Valley. I headed over there one day and I learned so much about what they do and who they serve in the Fox Cities community.
My name is Tammy McLaughlin, and I'm the director of World Relief Fox Valley. World Relief is best known as the Refugee Resettlement Agency, and what that means is we welcome refugees who've come from the resettlement agency that was determined and created by our United States government. Not only do we welcome refugees, however, but we also have an immigration legal services program, and we provide those types of services to refugees. But we realize that there's a greater immigrant community in the Fox Valley and mainly Hispanic community who really could use immigration legal services in a place that they really trust, with people that know the systems and what's available to them at a very reduced rate versus an immigration attorney. A refugee is a person who fled their country for fear of persecution, war, or violence. So they feel there's no other chance for them. Often they pick up at a moment's notice. Maybe their village is being overtaken by rebels. We don't know their circumstances often, but we do know that they feel it's the last option for them. They've fled unstable governments. They've fled terrorism. They've fled militants groups, and again, most have left everything behind. And they're coming to our country to start over. Nobody would want to leave their country, and they've had to leave their country. A lot of times it's their only option, their only hope. They want the same things in life that we do, security. In fact, one of the first things they say when they arrive at the airport is, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm safe." So that's first and foremost. And then every other opportunity that we want. Jobs, homes, education. So they're human beings like we are. They've just had come from horrible circumstances that hopefully we as Americans will never have to face. We want them to become self-sustainable. They want to become self-sustainable, and that is most often measured through employment. So we work really hard to find refugees jobs once they get here.
How have you seen the presence of immigrants and refugees positively impact the Fox Cities?
Well, invisible means we see restaurants, we see businesses growing, and that's all. I think that's thriving communities. And when you see, especially diversity, not only from the Hmong population, we see a lot of those restaurants. The Congolese are starting to open marketplaces. We see little markets along Wisconsin and College Avenue. So I think just that brings a great wealth to our community. And then just what we learned from refugees, we so often think that we have something and everything to give them, but I've learned so many things from them. My wants are so much different than what my needs are. I really truly learn what resilience and perseverance is. I learn what community means, and that I should take more time to have a cup of coffee and just share some moments with other people. So they bring a quality of life that sometimes I think that we've lost here in the United States, and remind us that relationships are really important, and we all have something to learn from each other.
Tammy and I talked for a bit, and eventually I asked her, "Tammy, what is the most hope-filled thing you see in the work that you do?"
It's always family reunifications at the airport when a family's been waiting for a member to arrive. And 2 weeks ago, we welcomed a mom and her 5 children. We had welcomed the father in 2017, but they had been separated even before that. A lot of times as families flee, they get separated and they don't see each other until they're reunited through the resettlement process. So he was at the airport waiting for his wife and 5 children who, again, he was resettled here in 2017. He hadn't seen them in over 10 years. And those are, I capture those as heaven on earth. There's nothing greater than seeing those families together. And this wall is reflective of families that are still waiting for family members to be reunited. But this wall is a reminder that our work continues also.
Throughout my time at World Relief, I found I laughed, I cried, and I recognized how much immigrants and refugees make our communities stronger through the sharing of their cultural practices with us. World Relief plays a huge role in making that happen. Before we left, I asked Tammy what she hopes people think of when they hear the words World Relief.
I hope they think of refugees and immigrants. A lot of people get us confused with World Vision. So I just say relief, refugee. Think of the R, World Relief. And I'd like people to know that we stand with the vulnerable. The vulnerable in the Fox Valley are the refugees and the immigrants we serve. And by standing with them, we're partnering with them with volunteers, with churches, with agencies. We're advocating for them. And we just can't do enough in terms of how we serve them, but also what we get out of it is much more abundant and beneficial than what we could give.
So there you have it. To save me from having a pie in my face on August 8th and to raise money for World Relief, do me a favor and drop some silver coins or dollars into my jar.